Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today, I thought we would make a card using Pretty Pink Posh's Hummingbird Floral. So this was released not that long ago, and I was super excited because I already had it. I actually received this stamp and die set the beginning of 2024 in a Pink Fresh Studio event. They partnered with Pretty Pink Posh, and so I had this. And when I saw that it was released, I got really excited. Today, our card is going to be fairly simple. We are using the stamp and the dies, but we're only using a few select images. I already have my Misti all set up, and we are using the 2 hummingbirds, 1 floral image, and 1 little flower. This card is going to be pretty simple, but we're going to wow them with our bright images. And I am using Honeybee's Intense Black because this is alcohol marker friendly. We will be coloring these images. Let's see how that looks. I think that looks good. We will re-stamp after we color, so this does not have to be perfect. That's good. Let's go ahead and start coloring. So I've got my greens, I've got my blues, and I've got my yellows, and we want this to be really vibrant. I want the colors to be strong. So let's go ahead and start on one of our hummingbirds. I've got 3 greens. All my colors that I use today will be listed in the description below, but we've got YG03, YG67, and G99. So I'm going to start with my darker green here, and I'm really just doing basic coloring. So for this portion of his wing, I am just going to completely color that in. And then for the second half of his wing that has separations, that has variations in there, like to show the feathers, I'm going to kind of just do some little flicks. Then we'll come in with our next color, which is YG67, and we are just going to kind of blend into that a little bit. I want my colors very bright. Then we will come in with our next green, and we're just going to try to move those inks around. I hope everybody is doing fabulous and having a good day. Everything that I use today will be listed and linked in the description below. Please give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. And I love that. There is definite variation in there. You know what? And we may even go over this with this lighter green just to change it up a little bit. So now we'll work on that other wing. Same thing. We're just coming in with that darker color first and completely coloring that in. Then we will use a little bit of a flicking motion. Change to our next medium green. Get that added in there, and then our lightest green. And that's just going to give us some shading in our coloring. And it looks like I am very picky about my coloring. It looks like I went out of that line a little bit, but if you take your clear, your 0 Copic marker, you can just push that ink right back in there. So now we're going to do his tummy. And for his tummy, I am using my medium, and then I've also got one other lighter marker, and I'm just going to kind of get a line going here. Then we'll come in with that lighter marker, and we'll try to move some of that ink out towards the base of his tummy, because I want his tummy to be lighter. So let's just go over that again and move some of that ink. And there's his tummy. Now we can do his little tail wings here, and we're going to do those the same as we did this portion of his wing. Just a little bit of that darker green. Then our medium green. and then our lighter green. Then we can do his little beak. You know what? Let's do his body first. So for his body, I am using the blues, and we have B05 and B02. Let's start with our darker, and we're just going to go around the top of his head here and around his wing a little bit, and then we'll come in with that lighter blue. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to try to push that ink more towards the center. And I like to rotate my paper a lot so I can get a good angle on there. And just push that darker ink towards the center of his body. And I do go over that a couple times because every time you go over that ink, you are adding another layer of depth. And that should be perfect. So then for his little beak, I am coming in with that very darkest green that we used. And I will very carefully color his little beak in. And isn't he cute? I just love that. So now we can move on to our flower. For my flower, I have 3 different shades of yellow here. I've got Y38, Y19, and Y13. We are going to start with our darkest color, and we're going to do more of that flicking. We're just going to flick at the base of that flower, and by all means, I am no coloring expert. I am just kind of winging it. So then we'll bring in that medium and we'll push that ink up. Then we'll come in with our lightest yellow and we'll just start where the other color ends and move up. And then for the top of that flower, these are like the inside on the other side. I am just going to color that the light yellow. Then I will take my darkest and fill in those little circles there. Then for my leaves, I am going to start with my medium and my light green. And I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm just using that flicking motion at the base with the darker color. Then I'll come in with my medium color. And I will just fill in the rest of that area. And for the base of my little flower here, I'm just going to fill that in with my green. I will also do this little leaf here. And then I am just going to continue on with my other flowers, doing the same thing, starting with the darker, then going to my medium, and then going to my lightest. I am filling in those centers with my medium green. And now I am going to color my other hummingbird the same way that I did the first one. And I just love how bright and vivid those colors are. So let's go ahead and bring our Misti back in, and we are just going to re-stamp this just to darken those outlines a little bit. I'm still using my Honeybee Intense Black. And that is beautiful. I love these images. I love the little hummingbirds. So we have one of those bird feeders that has the camera on it. And I thought about getting a hummingbird one, but I'm having problems with my bird feeder because we have woodpeckers, and the woodpeckers seem to have taken over. And every single picture on my camera recently is woodpeckers. And I was watching out the kitchen window the other day, and they were scaring off all the other birds. They're not letting anybody else have any bird seed, and it's making me a little mad. So I don't know if I want to do hummingbird feeder. We'll see. I might just do the regular feeders without the camera, but the camera is so fun. So let's go ahead and get our images die cut. So our images are all ready. Now we can start building our card. This card came together so quickly. I've got my top folding card base here. I've got my main panel and then another layering panel. For my main panel, I used Pretty Pink Posh's Pierced Leafy Vines plate, and I dry embossed this. I just took the plate, a piece of cardstock, and I used my gray rubber mat in my Platinum 6. And then for my little rectangle here, I used my Waffle Flower A2 Piercing Layers dies, and I used I used the 5th from the largest. And we need to now get foam tape behind these 2 pieces because I want a lot of layers on this card since it is so simple. I am just going to attach my layering piece on here, and we're just going to try to eyeball that. I'm centering it a little bit on my grid paper, and then I'm not real worried. I'm just going to try to get it centered top to bottom, left to right. I think that looks good. And then we can bring in our pieces. So I just love how bright these are. These are beautiful. We are going to just arrange our hummingbirds. I know I want this one over here kind of getting nectar out of that flower. I think that's good. I am going to put foam tape behind my birds and my flower, and I am going to be very careful not to get foam tape on the part of the bird that hangs over. And I'm actually going to use foam squares. I've got foam squares back behind my flower. I'm just going to place that where I think it will look good. Probably right about there. Then we can place this hummingbird. And I think we kind of want him down like there. And I was careful about where I placed my foam squares. Then we've got our other hummingbird, and he's just kind of flying around in there. And then we've got our little flower here. For this little flower, I am just going to directly glue that to my panel because I've got my sentiment. The sentiment also came from this set. We have Hello Friend. We have Thinking of You, just a little note, and then you've got this larger scripty note. But I am just going to use Thinking of You, and I want that down here. So I'm going to directly adhere this flower to the corner. Then we can attach our sentiment. I did put some foam squares on the back of that, and I cut one in half and put the half pieces towards the bottom because we've got this little piece of leaf there we've got to contend with. So I just want to make sure that this lays flat. I'm trying to center that, and that's good. This is so cute. I just love those bright colors. It screams summer to me. So now all that's left to do is get this on our card base and add some embellishments. For my embellishments, I am using Pinkfresh Studio Glitter Drops in Leaf. And this card is done. That came out so cute. I hope you like this as much as I do. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I love comments, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.